Hey there, everybody. Hope you're having a great time out there because today we are going to be diving into everything that you need to know about scan probe strength and how to use this knowledge to help your exploration workflow much better, which will surely net you hundreds of millions of extra ISK. I'm Interdimensional, and let's get into it. Pre-note, this video does assume that you have at least some knowledge of exploring in EVE Online, so if you don't, you should still probably watch the video, but I do apologize if there's something I don't fully explain, and there's a lot of other great resources that can help you out in that regard. I do also want you guys to know that as an EVE partner, we will be doing a Scope Syndication skin giveaway for this release of this video. At this time, I have the Abaddon, which just released, the Raven or the Megathron to give away. And all you have to do is leave a comment down below, and I will be raffling off to you in about a week's time. So get your comments out and good luck. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's start off. So first, let's talk about the theory behind scan strength. And then later in the video, we can talk about how to use that theory, put it into practical applications. So to put it simply, scan strength is how good your probes are at scanning down cosmic signatures. Simple, right? That said, not all cosmic signatures are equal. There are 4 main levels of cosmic signatures, and then there's a smaller set of special signatures, but we can talk about those later. As for the main levels of signatures, it starts at level 1, DOI, and each level after that is twice as hard as the previous. So if level 1, for example, takes 1 strength, a level 2 will take 2 strength, level 3 will take 4 strength, and then a level 4 will take 8 strength. It just doubles and doubles and doubles. Another very important thing to take note of is that your scan probes not only have a scan number, but a range they scan at as well. And similar to the difficulty level of SIGs, going down a tick on the range effectively doubles your scan strength. So with that knowledge, let's start talking about actual numbers. The big one you need to know is 85 strength. There, we've given away our secret. It's out there in the world, 85 strength. We went out on our Twitch streams over the past few weeks to gather data, and we found that 85 strength is the minimum you need in order to scan a level 1 cosmic signature at 2 AU range. And taking what we know about how ranges and SIG levels work, we can extrapolate that 85 strength, we can fully scan down a level 2 signature at 1 AU, so increase the level of difficulty and decrease a tick on your range, and then a level 3 signature at 0.5 AU and a level 4 signature at 0.25 AU. So if we want to scan all of the difficulties of sites 1 through 4 with a minimum scan range of 0.25 AU, then we need this 85 strength, which is why it is our first main breakpoint. Hey there again, in the editing room here, I just wanted to let you guys know that these numbers are without doing any of the funky constrictions that you can do with your probes. I do know that it is possible to resolve these signatures with a slightly less scan strength, but that's more of a topic to cover in a future video. So don't worry about that for the time being, and let's get back. If we want to make it possible to scan SIGs at a higher tick of range, so for instance a level 1 signature at 4 AU, we would have to double our strength from 85 all the way up to 170, which is, as we'll talk about more in a second, not generally a realistic goal. There are some other important breakpoints though, for us to get to. So remember when I talked about those special SIGs? Well, they're sleeper caches. So there's 3 levels of these, and they're all slightly different. The limited takes 90, the standard is 95, and the superior is 105. These are some of the best exploration sites though to do, so I do highly recommend running them, and you can learn just how to do that by my other videos on this here channel. So go check those out and make sure that you're running sleeper caches, because you can get a lot of ISK from them. Lastly, there is a small note that some of the other SIGs don't exactly follow the rules for strength, but I wouldn't worry too much about those because they are very few and far between. And there's also you've probably seen them, the signatures that start with a smaller sphere right off the get-go. They are technically always level 1 combat sites, but another special set or feature that they have is that they require half as much scan strength to scan down. Now you know all the theory that you need to know. So go out there, make tons of money, right? But we aren't done yet. Let's dive into how to actually get the scan strengths that we need. First up, we need some probes. There are 3 options for us. We got the core probes, which have a strength of 40. We have the sisters probes, which have a 44 strength, and then the RSS probes, which have a 45 scan strength. I do highly recommend always going with the sister probes, as they are fairly cheap and give quite a bit of a bonus over the basic ones, especially how the math works out, which we'll deal with in a second. The RSS probes are technically the best option, yes, but they are incredibly expensive, so I don't really ever recommend getting them unless you're just really feeling extra. Another side note is that there are combat probe counterparts as well, which, despite a lot of people getting confused over, do work exactly the same as normal probes, with the change that they can only go down to a range of 0.5 AU, but because of this, they get an additional range in the other direction and can go all the way up to 32 AU. You do also have to fire these out of a expanded probe launcher, which does take a lot more CPU, but as far as the actual functionality of the probes, they are exactly the same. Now I bet you're thinking though, and 44 strength isn't enough to scan down what we need. And fear not, there are plenty of ways to improve that base value, and we're about to go through them. There are ways to improve in all 4 of the major categories, which are skills, ships, modules, and implants. And we are looking for a 93% bonus to scan strength to get to our first main breakpoint of 85, assuming that we are using the sister core probe launchers, or the sister core probes. Alternatively, we need 139% for our superior sleeper cache breakpoint of 105. What makes this little extra wonky though is that the bonuses are multiplicative from each source, so each extra piece you put into this puzzle ends up actually giving you more of an effective bonus than what is plainly stated. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment here. Let's first look at skills, and I'll try and make that previous point a little more clear. There are 2 ways to improve here: astrometrics and astrometrics range finding. Each gives you 5% bonus per level, and I do recommend getting level 5 and 4 respectively. This effectively means that if you have 44 scan strength, you then times that by 1.25, and then times that by again 1.2, which ends up being 66, or an actual effective bonus of 50%, even though if you only have 5 and 4, it's actually only 45% stated bonus. And then just every little bit you add on to this and add on to this, you end up getting more and more and more of an effective bonus. You can get 5 in both of these skills. However, it is quite a heavy train time for the astrometrics range finding, and it's not strictly needed really at all. So I don't really typically recommend it unless you spend a lot of time exploring. Next up is ship choice. There's the good old T1 exploration frigate, which gives you 7.5% per level. There's the T2 covert ops options, which give you 10% per level, as well as the T3 ships, which also give you your 10% per level. And then lastly, there are a couple more special ships. These are going to be the Society of Conscious Thought ships, such as the Stanesis, and the Sisters of Eve ships, which is the Astero and the Stratios. And those are going to give you a roll bonus of 37.5%. And then lastly, there is the Nestor, which is an SOE ship. It is the battleship, and that gives you a roll bonus of 50%. After our ship comes modules. We got to equip our ship with something, right? There are 3 types of mods that help our range finding. First is the actual probe launcher, which can give you 10% bonus with a Sisters Core probe launcher, but that does cost about 30 million, so it is a little bit on the expensive side, especially if you don't necessarily need it to get to any breakpoints. or 5% with a T2 version. After that, there are the rigs, which are called gravity capacitor upgrades, which give you 10 or 15%, but it does take a lot of calibration points, so do be aware when fitting those. And then lastly, there are the mid-slot modules called scan range finding arrays, which give you 5% bonus, or the T2 version gives a 10% bonus, but that T2 version does require the Astrometrics range finding skill all the way up to 5. So a lot of times you're not going to be worrying about using those T2 versions. But if you can, feel free to use them. And keep in mind that mods do suffer from diminishing returns. But again, because of the multiplicative nature of the bonuses, you still pretty much always end up getting more value than what is actually stated on the module. And then lastly, you do have implant. These are generally useful. At least these ones, these 2%, 6%, or 10% ones. And I almost always do have one of these in my heads because they are quite cheap and quite useful. But you could also go with a virtue implant set. These are very good, but they are also extremely expensive. So I only recommend getting a set of these if you are quite sure you're not going to lose your pod and you're shooting for that 170 scan strength breakpoint. If you don't need that 170 scan strength breakpoint, I would not really worry about these at all. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying and learning a lot from it. If you like content like this, please do consider hitting that subscribe button. It helps the channel out a ton, and it puts a big old smile on my face. So hopefully you'll like to do that. And it lets me know that I am helping you out, which always is great. And now for our final and most arguably helpful piece of content. I've made a spreadsheet. That's right, a spreadsheet. You can find that spreadsheet in the description below, and this sheet lets you put in whatever your scan strength is, whatever it ends up being, that final number, and you can see what is the best percentage that you can get for each level of signature at each given range. What this practically means is that you can, for example, do an 8AU scan across a large swath of signatures in a system and figure out what the level is of each of those signatures, even after just a single scan. This is very helpful because in things like events, most of the time all of the event site signatures are going to be level 3, so you could be searching for only those signatures. Or you could also be, for example, trying to find a specific class of wormhole. So wormhole signatures can be either level 1, 2, or 3. And if you were looking for like a high class of wormhole, you would only necessarily need to scan for level 3 signatures, and you wouldn't worry about those level 1s or 2s. And it just kind of helps speed your whole workflow up if you were looking for something more specific. So that's it. Easy, right? Let me know down in the comments what topic you want me to cover about next, and or what part of this video was the most helpful or interesting. I do also stream every weekday on twitch.tv, mainly EVE exploration-based content, so feel free to drop on by. Links in the description. Join our community over there too. Ciao for now. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.